talk to me something about the head, because in order for the body to be effective, we must be properly aligned with the head. That's why the Bible says, love the Lord thy God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your strength, with all of your mind. So love God with your spirit, soul, and body.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Whenever the Bible talks about headship, it refers to authority. And authority always has intrinsic with it ability. And so we always want to make a distinction between the two, that there is the permission to function, that is authority, and then there is the ability to function, that is power. God, when he decided that he was going to have a creation, he first decided this unilaterally without the assistance or the input of anyone. And from this, God made you and I and all of the world that we see. Everything that here functions according to God's express will. Everything emanates from God. The way how God organized the church is that each and every one of us have been fitted, we have been given purpose, we have been given value. However, the effectiveness of our purpose and value is not seen individually by us just merely doing things on our own. Instead, God, from his vantage point, he decides and he places everyone and he places us in just the right positions and time so that we can experience success. Now, to perhaps better illustrate this, we can think of, being a physicist, I like to think of numbers. And there are basically 10 digits that we use, 0 through 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, whenever we have head, the head always demands that there is submission. Submission isn't really that horrible of a word. It's from a Greek term that means to place in order, to place in order. Mm-hmm. So if I have 10 digits, I can now say, okay, I want all of the even numbers to step forward, and I want them to arrange themselves from the lowest to the highest. So therefore, I would have first 2, then 4, then 6, then 8. Mm-hmm. I can then ask for all the odd numbers to step forward, and I can arrange them from the greatest to the lowest. I will have 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. And there are other ways I can arrange these numbers. Now, in all instances, it doesn't mean that 1 is greater than 9 or 8 is greater than 7. It all depends on what the head desires. What the head desires determines the position or the placement so that the result can be acquired. The problem pops up that if the head is asking for all of the even numbers to show up in order, from the greatest to the smallest, but then now the odd numbers begin to throw themselves in the front, then that gives us what we call confusion.
That's right.
Now, confusion isn't always necessarily a bad thing. Confusion means that it's from a Latin word, confusum, which means everything that's necessary is present. However, it's just simply out of order. So what the head does is that he knows the value of each and every one of us. But however, the head, knowing what the ultimate plan is, determines the order for everyone. And I always like to tell my students at the beginning of the semester that every student has come into my classroom with at least 3 correct answers. I always tell them this. I'm trying to make them feel good about physics before it gets started. That everyone comes with 3 correct answers. Now, the key thing is that you must wait until I ask your question. Because if you shout out one of your correct answers at the wrong time, then you have just wasted your good answer. So you have to align your answer with the question. Every one of us, God has made us the answer to something. But what we have to do is we have to wait until our question is asked.
Selah.
So God the head positions us in just the right place where there is a question for which we are the answers. So each and every one of us is the answer to the other person. Everything that we need, God does not place within us. Instead, he places it in other people so that we can be dependent on the value of others. And that is how the head sees us. Each and every one of us value to each other, but however, we must realize that the head determines our placing and position.
Thank you.